Hello, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic. Thanks for joining me. Today I've got another card make for you. If you're looking for something that's quick and simple and easy with a nice clean finish, this is the card for you. Now I'm doing this for a new house card or a new home, but of course you could use any occasion really, just change it up to suit whichever. Now I got this idea from Instagram, and I wish I'd have kept the name so I could tag them and give them full credit. I have swapped it up a little bit. You'll see right at the end I do come on the camera and show you the image that I did a screenshot of, but unfortunately I've not got the name, so really need to learn next time to make sure I do that as well. Now I did say in a couple of videos ago that I would start to do a bit of a crafty chat whenever I am going through a scrapbook layout or a card layout rather than a process tutorial. I did a little poll and the feedback came back saying they would prefer crafty chat, but then a couple of weeks later the poll had changed and it was the overwhelming preference was to go back to a process tutorial, so that's what I'm going to do today. Now you'll see I am sketching this out in pencil to begin with. Because it's a new home card, I've obviously drawn a little house, and this is pretty much how the inspiration card looked. It was just some fine line, black lines, drawing with the image, but I'm going to shake it up a little bit because I've been wanting to practice with some watercolour backgrounds. So you see here, first of all, I'm just using a Copic fine liner, I think it is. Yes, I think it might be. I'll do a double check just to go over the outline that I did in pencil, and then I'll obviously erase all that pencil later. I've done the designs around the outside edge a little bit different, and of course you could alter it any way you want. You don't have to be a circle, it could be a square, the house could look slightly different. I'm not a very good drawer, so this is as basic as it's going to get from me. I thought I'd change it up a little bit more because I thought the original image that I looked at had 4 windows and I just decided to do the 2. And I know there was lots of little kisses, I think it was, or crosses, whereas I've decided to do lovettes instead around this as well, and a lot more. So I've chosen, I think it's a 5.5 by 5.5 square card base for this, so that's why I decided not to do a square around the house as well, just to give it a bit of a different layout from that one. Now I'll put all the links down below as I usually do because I can never remember what colours of distress inks that I've used or not, but these are the oxides that I'm using, and I'm just going to kind of smush these down on my glass mat here, and so I can use this as a bit of a palette if you like. So I've just got a little bit of each colour. I'm just going to spray some water on that just to start activating those oxides. And the reason I went for oxides rather than the normal distress is I didn't want too vibrant of a colour, so otherwise I'd have used normal distressing. So I've got some gorgeous Catherine Pooler ones. They do also reactivate with ink, and they tend to be a lot brighter than the or any of the distress inks actually, but I wanted this nice kind of pale muted tone to it. And you'll see me here as I'm doing a lot of this kind of smushing around. This blue in particular is a lot darker than the rest of it, so you'll see that's why I go back and forward a few times. So this little bit might be a bit tedious to watch. I don't know, depends how therapeutic you find it. I did decide to go with the blues and the greens. I know they're going to mix quite nicely together and overlap just with where they are on the colour wheel, and that gives me a slightly different colour green. You see there is that yellow overlaps with that blue as well, and I'm just kind of moving each side to the opposite side a little bit, so where I've got that darker blue on the left I'm transferring it similarly on the right, and so on, and that's just to try and give a little bit of a balance. I didn't actually think at the time, but now that I'm watching it back, it does almost look like the green is the grass and the blue is the sky, and that absolutely was not my intention at all, but it looks very literal, doesn't it, finishing off like this. But I think any colours would do because it is just, I was just going for a fresh look, and a lot of the colours in the distress range I think are really nice and fresh, like some of the pinks and the purples are gorgeous colours in the mix. So this is pretty much my card done. I have to say there's not a lot much more to do. I am drying it off because I do then want to add a little bit more to it, which you'll see coming up slightly. And this is quite thick. I think it's 300 GSM card, so you see I've painted straight onto that, so it's not watercolour cardstock in any way, so I've got to be very careful that that card doesn't warp too much. So what I did after drying this off, I made sure I put it under a really heavy surface. I used my Cricut Easy Press actually, just to make sure the card ended up nice and flat. But I felt it was a bit of a waste creating an extra card front on top of it. So what I did, I just went straight on the card, and I thought, you know, worst case scenario, if I ruin it, I could just cut it off, and I've got the other side of it to use on a different card. So you can see here I've got this Brie Reese, I think it is, this glitter. Doesn't come across too well on camera, but it is lovely and sparkly in real life. And you can see here as well, I'm just going to add a little bit of extra water as well, just to try and get that textured look on these Distress Oxides as well. So I'm leaving those for a little while just to settle in, and then I'm just using some tissue paper here just to lift that up as well. And that is my card more or less done. How quick and easy was that? I think it took about 15 minutes in total to make. And there's the original inspiration. Thank you very much for whoever created that. It's absolutely beautiful. And I hope I've given you some inspiration as well for a card of your own. I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.